G'day Bomber fans, that was a bloody pleasing win after a pretty tough week. Losing after the siren is never fun. With finals almost on the line, this was a mini elimination final of its own, but we got the job done against the Crows and we got it done well. I know it's an 18-point win, but it feels bigger than that. Before I get into the review, get your votes in, 3-2-1, Brownlow style, Essendon players only, and stay tuned till the end to hear about Manscaped. So heading into the game, we obviously knew our season was on the line. We win, we sit in the 8 comfortably by the end of the round. We lose, we are out, and you could tell we understood the stakes. We were about as hot as you could possibly be early. We kicked 3 goals in quick succession. We were all over Adelaide. We had all the play. We were hot around the contest. That first quarter was all on our terms, which was both pleasing and frustrating. We were making their midfield look B-grade early. It's why we were dominating inside 50 and territory, but we only led by 17 at quarter time. Adelaide were converting really well. We had the ball locked in our half, but when it left, it looked like resulting in a Crows goal. So it was a weird one. On one hand, we were playing scintillating pressure footy. On the other, we weren't applying that pressure on the scoreboard as much as we could have. But just like that, in the second, it came. We absolutely destroyed the Crows. We had 40 inside 50s for the half. We are not a team that usually has that much of the footy up forward, so to see that was pleasing. We had a lead of 37 points against an, at the time, top 8 team. We had much more of the footy, 70 to 80 more disposals, but it was that contest pressure we were applying that had me thrilled. We were hot, they were not. We were playing awesome, electric, exciting footy, and they couldn't handle it. That lead of 37, if I'm being honest, was slim in my eyes. It was 21 scoring shots to 9. We should have been leading by about 50 points, and that is the truth. We were genuinely smashing them, and Crows fans would agree. While that first half was my favourite to watch of the year, it's the best we've looked, that third quarter was just a mess, not performance-wise. I thought we held up defensively, but the Crows started getting the upper hand, more footy in their half. We started seeing players go down. Ridley had every Essendon fan's head in their hands. I just hope he hasn't done any significant structural damage to his knee. And then you had Redmond coming off with what appeared to be hamstring awareness. He played out the game. So too Phillips, despite coming off with a hand problem. We had players coming off for extended breaks, and we were losing our grip on that dominance we had in the first half. The Crows managed to claw their way back into the contest just a tad. The last quarter was us just defending pretty much. There were minimal opportunities our way. The Crows actually had a sniff, but it wasn't really a genuine one. We had the game won at halftime. Credit to Adelaide for fighting back and avoiding an embarrassment. They got closer than they should have, but looking at that 18-point margin, it just feels closer than what it really was, which brings me to a very fun part of the video because I get to explain why we won the game, or how we won the game. So the big change that I saw was our contest work, which I've spoken about a few times. We were red hot around contest stoppages, center clearances. We had more clearances despite having less hitouts. We had way more pressure acts than usual, more ground ball gets than usual. A lot of what we rarely see from the boys, for good or bad, we were seeing, and it was pleasing against a team like Adelaide who play off pressure. We were bringing it to them, but not just that, not letting them bring it back to us. We were so much hotter than they could have imagined, which had them rattled. But not just that, despite having more of the ball, almost 100 more disposals, we had less turnovers. We were cleaner, which I said we needed to be. We had heaps of uncontested footy, heaps of uncontested marks. We were moving forward a lot, but not giving it away cheaply, and that was noticeable by the way the game was running. They were always under pressure, always felt a Guelphy or Menzies breath on their neck. They were coughing it up, we weren't. Having 99 more touches but less turnovers is mighty pleasing if you ask me. Games are won and lost early. If you trail by 7 goals at halftime, you rarely find yourself winning the match, so the fact Adelaide were down by so much at halftime, well, that's a big reason we won. We spent all our energy early because, worst comes to worst, if Adelaide do surge, which they did, we go full lockdown mode. That's what we had to do at times in the second half. So getting off to that fast start, applying first a half scoreboard pressure, that starts from the midfield. We actually had 5 centre bounce score launches in the first term, the second most of any team in any quarter this year. I thought our forward structure was fantastic. I know people are going to call for Wiedemann to be dropped again and will be disappointed in Stringer's performance, but any side that scores 115 points against a top 8 contending team doesn't need to change anything for the next week. We scored and scored quickly, and to see how well some of the boys worked together in the forward line, it was no surprise we scored so high. It was great to see so many goal scorers. We aren't relying on Peter Wright like we did last year. We have so many more ways to score now. I thought our defense held up when it mattered. I highlighted Tex Walker and Isaac Rankin being danger players that needed to be stopped before the game? Well, they had one first half goal between them. I actually didn't think they had much of an impact at all, if I'm being honest, only when the game winded down. The ball came their way so much, but our defense was all over them, so the fact they didn't break the game open was great. I thought our ball movement was really fun, but not just that hard to read. I think as a team, the last few weeks we've been less enjoyable than earlier in the year, despite churning out results. Nothing wrong with that, no complaints if we win, but we started really taking the game on against Adelaide. Long goals, risky kicks, quick chain hand passing. It was champagne footy at times. We were fast, frenetic, and fun. It was good to watch. Any negatives with the game? That second half wasn't fun. We had 40 inside 50s at halftime, but finished the game with 58. 18.5 is no good. Even with a hefty lead, we definitely fell out a bit as the game went along. That is something we need to look at during the week for sure. It was a good win, but still not a four-quarter performance. We have some big losses set to come from this game. I doubt we see Ridley against Geelong. Phillips should cop a week suspension. Redmond was sore. Menzies was sore. Draper is still out. Setterfield is not back yet, so we are back to having some injury issues. It's okay though. We have generally managed them pretty well this year. It is also not great to see really important players to this side underperforming still. Stringer is due a big game. Wiedemann is now 6 games without a goal. Fans are becoming restless, myself included. I actually have liked what he has brought to the side these last 2 rounds. He rucks a lot. He pushes up the ground, more contested marks, but we need to see him kick goals. He is a forward, and he doesn't do enough around the ground to warrant a selection spot if he doesn't kick goals. That is my thought process. I think he is one bad game away from being dropped for Pat Voss if we lose. That is just a fact. But all in all, it's a win I can get behind. I'm actually from Adelaide. I travelled over to Melbourne to see the game though, and the crowd was buzzing. Everyone was happy. It was just a good victory, a much needed victory, and it tells the good teams in the comp that we can be dangerous. It's a tough period for us. We still have Geelong and the Dogs to come. I think we need a win from one of those games, but this Adelaide win has well and truly set us up for finals. We are 5th at the end of the round in a pretty even season. It's a good time to be a Bomber fan, but onto some good old votes. Here are the votes, super basic this week. A lot of love to midfielders because that is where the game was won. 1 vote to Darcy Parish. His contest work was great, proving those wanting him gone wrong. Nick Martin, 2 votes, 28 touches, 2 goals, 3 goal assists. But Zach Merritt, what can you say about this guy? Every week it's this. He is the leading player of the Player of the Year vote tally by a lot, and it's because he plays this well every single game. He was outstanding, as he always is. Get your votes in down below. There are some really unlucky players. I thought long and hard about including BZT. I thought he was incredible down in defence. Dyson Heppel was great. Peter Wright, he was brilliant. Matt Guelphy, how good, especially in that first half he was. Some others that deserve mentions: Andy McGrath, Ben Hobbs, Kyle Langford, Jai Menzies, Jaden Laverty, and Archie Perkins. It was an all-round good team performance. Hopefully these guys receive some votes from you, but that is that. Video done, but before you go, a quick word from Manscaped. Bomber fans, after a win like that, I like to admire my shaven balls, but how do I shave these balls? With Manscaped. I'm a huge Manscaped fan. I love their body grooming gear, and if you want to try it out, you can, and for cheap. Just head over to manscaped.com, enter in the discount code EverythingEssendon20, and you can save 20% plus free shipping. Cheers, Dons fans.